Hard Hat's all about showing up to play hard, doing what it takes to win.
If you want to cement legacy, win another.
He's your third center.
You don't want to puff him up too much, but it's hard not to.
This is maybe the most I've ever agreed with you.
We'd just like to say,
Bailey!
damn it, Bailey, that Andrew came here just to tell everyone that he's not going to watch the show.
I missed the JB show tonight. 3 shows in a row is enough. Well, Andrew, don't go. We can't even talk about Jaylen Brown. He didn't play.
We got nothing.
He didn't play tonight. Which
Though I have
we're trying to figure
theories.
out why.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of speculation going on tonight.
We're gonna do 45 minutes on why we think he didn't play. Wait, time out. Do you have the speculation graphic?
What?
We made one of those. Didn't we have the
The
speculation?
speculation
graphic or
warning?
something?
Yeah, but we're not there
Yeah, the
yet.
speculation. No, we're not there
when
yet.
it's-
I know.
When it's time, we'll get there.
You know, I'm warning.
Yeah, we're going to talk about him anyways. I'll tell you this.
I'm
Dealer's
warning
choice.
happy right now.
Dealer's choice. You guys tell us what you want us to talk about tonight.
This is gonna be
Go
a chat.
ahead.
I feel like this will be a chat show. This is gonna be a chat centric show tonight because right before we went live, John, I'll tell everybody what I said to you. I said I watched this game, but I just don't have any. I don't have any takes from this game. I mean, what are we supposed to say? We're a game away from the playoffs.
Jimmy, you don't tell people that because they're just going to assume
been
whatever
like-
we talked
this is
about was our plan.
When they say the dog
Yeah.
days, this has been the slowest. It'll come to me. It
No.
always does. But sometimes I'm firing on something right off the bat. But when I'm talking
Yeah.
about this game specifically, nothing about this. And there were some things that I liked to see, sure. But did anything like alter the course of anything in this game? No, not really. JD Davison, shout out. He got his dunk. We talked a little bit about that off the show. He's going to always have that dunk. Kind of a highlight.
We'll always
highlight
have
of his-
Charlotte. Yeah.
Always have Charlotte. He deserved that dunk after what he did for Maine. According to the Maine Celtics insiders, Bobby and Noah, he's done more for Maine than Maine's done for him.
Just
He's
because
done more for the Celtics.
I'm not doing a Jalen show tonight, but I'm not going to be needled all day too. Just because he's not playing doesn't mean he wasn't going for 65. Just so you guys understand, we don't know why he's not playing. We don't know if he has we don't know anything. We don't know if he had a
We
recurrence
don't
of
even
his
know what
injury.
we don't know.
They didn't tell it. We don't know anything. We don't know if he was like dead set on playing and they said, no, you're effing not, or it was always the plan. We don't know anything. So no, we don't know, but we're not going to talk about it. You know why? Because we don't know.
They don't
All
want
we
us to
know-
talk about it, but they want to keep
But
telling
they
us
desperately
that we're
want
not going to
to
keep talking about it. Yeah.
They want to talk about it so bad. Celtics make their way to 60 wins, which is a nice little milestone. It's the first time they've done that.
Joe's up.
Back since the 2008-2009 season. We'll hear from a little Joe Mazzulla
I
here.
think I give
Who
think about
broke
that
the
every single
media
day.
prior to the
And
game.
so
We'll
the
tell you about
perspective
that
and the
too.
gratitude that you have, one for having one
Broke
of 30 and also stepping into
He's
a
gonna
situation
be nice
that may
tonight.
be different
Watch.
than other coaches who are younger or get their first opportunity.
Well,
It's
they won
definitely
by
something I'm aware of
36.
and something I'm grateful for and something that you can't take for granted. And so it just comes with a level of perspective and gratitude. And listen, if you hang around long enough, shit happens. So, you just got to just stay present as much as you can.
Joe, Tory had 2 points tonight, but he also
He was sick, man. I
had
love that
5
guy.
rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals.
Yeah.
So he had a sick game, I guess.
got mad again,
I'm wondering if you
right
could
up.
talk about not just his night, but how you
Flu
understand his
game.
role with this team now that he's
Craig
been in
flu
Boston.
game.
Yeah, I
Yes.
mean, since I got in the league, I've been fortunate to coach guys that have been around. Like my first one was like Blake Griffin, and he taught me, obviously outside of Al, but Blake, his professionalism and being in the league a long time and doing what it takes. And, he set the tone. He came to me during a state ready group game and asked me what he could do to get better. And when Blake asked that question, it said a lot about him, but it said a lot about just the environment. And you start to see guys who hang around a long time and why they hang around a lot. And, Tory's in that category. When he came here, he doesn't care. Like, he just wants to play. And I appreciate watching a guy who, regardless of the scoreboard, just plays at the level that he plays at and constantly works. And, he's been doing it a long time. And for
Bobby's
him
going to
to be
ask
out
a
for the
JB
whole fourth quarter, I
question.
thought he set the tone.
It's not going to
starting
go
the
well.
quarter off with a turnover.
Warning the chat.
And to me, that
Don't
means
do
just
it,
as much to
Bobby.
me as what any of the other guys do is
Don't
just his
do
professionalism and competitiveness.
Joe, you guys have a lot of players who have a lot of gravity as 3-point shooters like Derrick and Sam, and then seeing them translate that into, screening off the ball for each other and using their gravity in that way, or crashing from the corner. How much pressure does that put on the defense, and how much progression have you seen from those guys sort of taking their 3-point gravity and using it in other ways?
Yeah, I think, players put pressure on the defense in different ways. KP does it in a certain way, Jalen does it in a certain way, JT does it in a certain way, and, Drew does it with, when he's in transition. And so everybody has a different way of creating 2-on-1s and doing that. And so, those guys have done a great job being creative and how they're able to force those 2-on-1s, whether it's for themselves or for the next guy. And, they just have to continue to work on that.
And then you talked about Sam's rebounding this year, I think a couple games ago. That corner crashing as shooters, do you think there is any extra value in having the same guys who are so great at shooting the ball being so great at crashing from the spots? It's just a mindset that you have to be able to have. We only had 10 tonight, but we've shot the ball well, so I'd like to see what the percentage of that was. But the one that Sam's really gotten good at is the big is boxing the guy out, and he's guarding the guy in the corner, and he comes in and taps it to another guy. And he had 2 or 3 of those tonight, and his defensive rebounding has been even bigger for us than his offensive rebounding.
Joe, you guys hit 7 threes in the third. When you're winding the season down, is it a matter of just tightening things up and being a little more efficient like you were in that quarter?
I thought we played well in the first half as well. I thought we just missed some shots. Al got a lot of good looks. I thought KP missed some. I thought JT missed some. I thought we got good looks. So I think it's just continuing to just take what the defense gives you and fight for the 2-on-1 and fight for the right read offensively. So we just got to continue to do that.
Is he going to do it? Is he
one other thing on the Tory Craig's night. I don't know if you noticed after his dunk tonight,
sick,
but
dude.
his
Son
kid
almost
came
made us
over,
give
his
up a
son
three.
celebrated.
Yeah.
What have you made of all the kids on the bench this year? Obviously, it's fun. It's kind of getting, they dance with the crowd and stuff. But what kind of environment do you think it's made for the players?
I'd say if you were to ask me, it's one of the highlights of my small tenure here is the culture that we have of the kids being in the locker room, the kids being on the bench. I think, I think this is Braylon's first time in Boston, and he addressed the team today, and he had some strong words for the guys, and I thought it was important that we took that. But to just have the memories that you're going to have for your son to be
Joe
around,
just got
I think
asked if he likes
the
kids.
most important thing. So it means a lot to me.
Yeah,
that
but
the guys are willing
who had
to
a
bring their
message?
kids around and
Child?
And you get to see the joy of doing it because they're not there all the time, and so they get an understanding of why they're not there, and they get an understanding of how much it means to the family. So I hope that continues.
Joe, one game from the finish line of the regular season. Are you comfortable where you guys
Bobby
are at
couldn't
right
do it.
now, or is it something you need to work on over the next week or so?
Sunday's game will expose whether we're ready or not from that standpoint. I think that we still have a game left to where we have to play at a high level, and but I do up until this point I think we've accomplished what we needed to from the standpoint of going through good, going through bad, having different identities, and so yeah, for the most part I am. Mm-hmm.
And will you play any of the main guys on Sunday, or how does that go?
I think we're going to talk about that tomorrow morning. Thanks.
That's it. Joe Mazzulla gone. No one had the stones to ask
didn't even ask
Jaylen Brown or
did
a
we miss
Porzingis question.
Did we miss the beginning? Maybe they asked Porzingis.
Did we miss it, guys? Let us know, Bailey, if we missed something off the top on Porzingis. There, but yeah. That's all we care about. Health. That's all we care about.
Can't believe Bobby.
I think reporters got a little spooked by the last two press conferences, because
Hurtful Joe.
he intimidated the hell out of them last postgame. Can I play it?
Yeah, please.
This is what Joe Mazzulla did to reporters last game and this press conference here. Okay, take a listen.
Set the table, set guys up 2 steps.
This was Wednesday.
There just have to be a team. Everybody's got a job doing the team. Make sure we execute that. So, that's the most important thing.
Joe, a lot of these guys are, looking to increase the roles on the Celtics, right? Like they're looking to build as individual players. How much does a game like this, where they get that extended run, are you looking at seeing how they can improve individual skills that could translate to when the guys are healthy?
0. One game doesn't do that. The whole body of work over the course of it. I appreciate everyone. Question you're asking, but we got to the hotel at 4:30 in the morning. So that was really fun what you guys did there. But
last question.
Porzingis talked about a lot, but is how far away he shoots threes. Does that stretch a defense more?
I mean, I think everything just depends on how he's being guarded and what his matchup is. But, I think with the talent that he has, a few of those from time to time has the ability to keep a defense honest and stretch it out more. And, just with his versatility, he can, create 2-on-1s in a lot of different ways.
He told the other night out bringing it in, getting closer to the line, but he realized his efficiency didn't really matter. Do you have that conversation with him?
No, I mean, everything is just he's a talent, and he's, whatever he feels like is good and he can do. Yeah. Thanks.
That's it. 52-second pregame presser. He scared him. No one asked a question. That was it.
That was pregame. So we went from Wednesday to pregame.
Wednesday to pregame today. That was it. Everyone was looking at Joe and they're like, I don't want to ask him. You ask him. No, I'm not going to ask him. You ask him. That was it. That was it. So, anyway, Joe said he's fine. We're getting the thing from the press room. So it sounds like they sat him. It didn't look like he got hurt, but it was weird that he wasn't on the bench. But also the Celtics announce injuries, and they kind of have to. So there was nothing announced. So we feel pretty good that that's not an issue there. But Joe's definitely got the reporters on their toes heading into the postseason here. No nonsense, no shenanigans, and that's fine. We will, John. We're getting there. The chat is goading. The chat claims they don't want to hear it, but they're goading me into it.
They are.
They're trying so hard.
Just to be clear, they do not want to. They're not.
They do not want to. They do not want to. But you poke the bear enough, guys. I'm telling you. Don't do it. The show, as always, is brought to you by PrizePicks, largest daily fantasy sports platform in all of North America. Download the PrizePicks app today. Code CLNS, get 50 instantly when you play 5. Code CLNS on PrizePicks, get 50 instantly when you play $5. PrizePicks, run your game and take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, use code CLNS, $20 off your first purchase. Once again, download the Game Time app. CLNS, $20 off.
There you go. Little glitch.
Done. Yeah, that's all you have to do.
That's it.
What time is it, Jimmy? It's game time.
It's game time. I got my eyes on Patriots Day, Fenway Park. 10 days from
Always
now.
Fun.
Weather is starting to show what it's going to be like. So.
You guys want to continue the conversation? You can always go to Discord. That's fine. And support us with Super Chats. It's great. Gets Bobby into a nicer hotel, so we're not as afraid as we were last time he was in Dallas. That wasn't a great scene. Thankfully, we had upgraded Bobby for the return trip. We just never made it. We never made it.
Wait, what happened?
Bobby's hotel in Dallas was
it brutal?
Real sketch as hell. Yeah.
That's awesome.
You know, I'm kicking it at the Four Cs with Gelso, and Bobby was like,
it's on some couch
fighting off crack. Yeah, it was something.
Damn. Our bad.
It was our bad. We didn't tell him to do that. He thought it was fine. He was right downtown. They thought they did okay. Whoa, it was a tough one. Anyway,
Bobby can hang.
Bobby's fine. They were fine. Anyway, back to this game.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Boy. Okay, chat. Go ahead. Tell us what to talk about.
I think Tory Craig had like the majority of that press conference, so that should tell you about this game. By the way, Craig had 2 points tonight. So
he's sick, dude.
Yeah, he's sick. Flu game. Tory Craig.
Joe was ready.
Can we get the Tory Craig flu game stat line? 2 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists.
No, it's the only one we don't have because he had 2 points. We did mention Kristaps Porzingis. We're told that he is fine. He left after the first half, but he played a lot in the first half, and that's it. 2 of 11 field goals. Didn't really shoot it well, but also who cares? Al Horford had himself a nice little game, 11 rebounds, and no, we're not talking about White Lotus.
We might at the end.
And that was fine. Peyton Pritchard. I'll tell you this again, Jimmy. Too much Peyton. I like my Stay Ready crew with less Peyton.
Mm-hmm.
Again, poor JD. He had that dunk, and that was fine. Sam Hauser, absolutely scorching from 3. I do like to see this.
Need this.
Only because nothing changes with Sam Hauser. This is who he's going to be regardless of the team and the matchup, and this is what he's going to be asked to do. Run around, catch the ball, have it leave your hands almost a second after you catch it, moon ball towards the basket and hope that three is going down. It's great when he's doing it. When he's in one of those zones, you're just like shocked when he misses. I love seeing that because that's what you need. And again, this is how they're just going to overwhelm teams. And they did it with the three tonight as well. It's a close-ish game, and then it's bang, 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 bang. And it's all of a sudden it's 19 points, 21 points.
Would you say Hauser's like, I mean, talk about somebody that you just have no idea what you're going to get on any given night. You could get this Hauser, or you could get like 1 for 10. It's like, or 1 for 3. And it's like, why isn't he shooting? You just never really know what you're going to get. But yeah, this is great. Sam Hauser getting hot going into the playoffs. That's a game changer. That's a series changer because there's no defending it. I think I like half joked a month ago after Hauser was like on one of those like benders. He was just scorching hot. And I was like, kind of gave me Curry vibes a little bit. The way he was just hitting ridiculous shots, like one after the other. Like that's the peak with Hauser there is Steph Curry vibes when he's really feeling it.
Yeah. This is it is. Or Seth Curry vibes for that matter, because he was striping it tonight too. Judah puts it up here and we'll throw up the comment. I think you do need that. You don't like, you don't need the Kelly Olynyk game. You've got enough players here, but yeah, you're right. You can't be shooting blanks across the board, right? Like you can't have Al Horford taking 2 shots in a game, and not being a factor. You can't have PP being like, oh, well, he just got played off the floor and he only played 18 minutes and was 0 for 6. You can't have Hauser not hitting his threes. Like you can't have that a lot. So you're right. You want the regular contributions of them to be themselves, but every game or so, you're going to want 1 or 2 of these guys to pop a little bit. You definitely don't want them to be a 0 collectively as a bench. That's where you're going to get a little shook, especially if, he who must not be named isn't carrying the load offensively, and you get a bad shooting Tatum game, someone's got to pick it up, right? And so you definitely I love seeing Hauser get hot.
Hauser was huge for them last year, right? I mean, he had those games. He was.
Love seeing Hauser heat up. I don't hate Pritchard. I love Pritchard, but I know what Pritchard can do in these stay ready games. I want to see Shireman touch the ball. I want to see Davison get a shot. I want to see Peterson. That's all it is.
The last time you're going to see these guys.
Pritchard can score 140 points in a game like this. Honestly, like we know that it's fine. I don't need to see him shoot logo threes. He's good like that. He's good. I just want to see it.
Pritchard just made Paul Pierce's all white, like American white player team. He made the top 5.
Yeah. Walsh,
Caruso,
again.
Pritchard.
You're putting these guys in. Walsh has been supplanted by Shireman. Neither is going to play in the postseason, though. I'm still hoping Shireman can weasel his way into a few minutes because I just like the dude. But Walsh is finished.
You didn't have to put that. Yeah, you didn't have. You liked the dude, but you had to put that up there. By the way, John Kramer, what dude? What? He's been yapping in the chat.
Jimmy. Hey, Jimmy.
Yeah, what? Like, what is it?
Hey, Jimmy. John, didn't I ban you last time for being a little weird? No offense.
I feel like
you kept, asking Noah,
did.
What she was wearing or something. Like
yeah,
it was good. Let's keep it.
We don't need
Let's keep it less weird.
Don't ask me what I'm wearing, please. Actually, you can.
Let's keep it less real. The Jalen hate is real.
Ugh, yeah. See, we're not even talking about him, and people just want to keep poking the bear.
I'm not, because we're not allowed to speculate. Everyone else can speculate that he's fine. He's fine. Mm-hmm. He was questionable last game.
See, wasn't trying to get the 65 games.
He was questionable, didn't play, and then didn't play in this one. And who knows why? It might be all part of God's plan, and everything is good, and he'll be fine, and everything's fine. That's totally fine, but it's speculation.
I think it's learning. It's all in the name of learning, John. Yeah. You can always learn something. Learning how to play a different way.
Speculation
alert. That'll happen.
All right. Yeah.
What else did you like in this one?
Yeah, thank you. Keep us honest with the weirdos, please, T. We appreciate that.
Thank you, T.
I'm always leery of that too. There's some lurkers here.
No, I think we've got some good dudes in this.
Oh yeah, most people are good dudes.
You're gonna once in a while you're gonna get usually from like the opposing team fan like finds the show and they get a little weird and then we boot them and then we never hear
some creepers. I do agree here. I would like to see people were begging for a little more Shireman point guard sort of stuff.
Yeah,
and I don't disagree there. People asking, is Hauser back? I don't know if he's back. He's just streaky, right? Like games like this aren't shocking.
Kind of my point was like, is he ever really back, or is he just kind of like there one day, gone the next? There one day, gone the next. You don't really know what you're gonna get, and that might be part of being a bench guy too. You know, maybe it's hard sometimes to get into a rhythm long term, but when those, I'm telling you, when those shots start to fall, they don't stop. A game like tonight's a good example. It's just kind of like it gets kind of silly out there. So, love to see it. That's probably my brightest take, happiest take from this game is Hauser going into the playoffs. Whether he might not even play on Sunday. I hope nobody plays Sunday, really. I mean, you want to see Shireman on Sunday? Then you're going to get Shireman on Sunday. I don't want to see anybody who's going to play a minute in the playoffs. I don't want to see them on Sunday. There's no need for it. It means nothing.
But
play the bench.
But Jimmy, Joe said that every game matters, and we're supposed to believe everything these guys tell us always. So I have to believe that the starters are going to play at least 35 minutes on Sunday because Joe said so. And no one would ever say something they don't mean. And that's just how it goes. What do we know from tonight outside of this? Some stuff opened up. The Knicks looking up like they're the 3 seeds all set here. They're going to take on the Pistons in round 1, which means that's who you're going to play in round 2, provided you can get past the Magic and the Hawks. And I can tell you, no one wants to talk more about the Magic and or the Hawks and Jimmy Toscano. So I'm just going to turn it over to him for the next like 8 to 10 minutes. And Jimmy's going to give you his thoughts on each
real quick
potential first round matchup. Yeah.
Before we do, don't sleep on the Pistons, John. Do not
Nobody
sleep on
is.
the Pistons. That is, well, you just said, it sounded like you just said the Celtics are going to see the Knicks in the second round, assuming they get there. But the Pistons are going to be...
I said the Knicks are the Pistons.
They probably wouldn't see the Pistons though, right?
The winner plays the Celtics.
Oh, right. It doesn't reseed. I knew that.
Yeah, you can't fax my dog.
I think I'd rather see the Knicks.
You can't fax my dog me, but then come in with a take. It's either or.
That's not a fax my dog. That's not a fax my dog. I was listening. I just wasn't comprehending.
The Pistons are damn good.
No, but the Pistons scare me more than the Knicks scare me. Because the Pistons are just one of those teams where it's like they got nothing to lose. The Knicks have a lot to lose, I feel like. The Knicks, being in New York, first and foremost, like they've always got a target on their back. They have a team that is kind of all over the place, physically, offensively challenged, a coach that's on the hot seat. The Knicks have a lot to lose. The Pistons are playing with house money. They've impressed everybody. I think they've definitely exceeded expectations. The coach and the players seem to be in sync with each other. Young, physical, fun team. That's a team that can catch lightning in a bottle and take down a team like the Knicks. I don't think they're good enough to beat the Celtics. I still think that they're not there yet, and the Celtics just have too much talent. But that would be a series that would just kind of like drain you a bit, for sure.
It would, and this is why this comment from Isaiah is always why, like, I think the Knicks at the end of the day, it's just really hard for them to win a series. I just don't think you can have you can't. I said this after the third Knicks game. You can't have two guys that are defensive liabilities playing chunky minutes for you and be able to beat the Celtics. They're just going to murder you. They murdered Towns on switches and mismatches in the third game. Again, that changes with Brown not being one of the guys who can exploit a mismatch. That's going to change the dynamic a little if you can hide a bad defender on him. Not to say that he couldn't, like, you can't put Brunson on him. He'll just take him to the post and eat him alive.
Mhm.
But you can put a lesser guy on Jalen at the moment if he's not going to be moving as well as he's moving. Who knows what he looks like when we see him next in game 1? Might have a little bit more bounce, and it's not as big an issue. But if he looks like he's looked, that changes the dynamic. That changes the equation a little bit, I think, in terms of that. But you're right. I mean, look, is anyone worried about the Magic or the Hawks? I could see you suffering like an annoying loss or two to Atlanta. Magic, I just don't think have the horses, but they're going to be annoying as well. Certainly, Detroit is a pain in the freaking ass. Someone brought this up earlier, and thank you for joining, Carrie Ann from Trinidad.
Carrie Ann,
I love
thank
it.
You. Yeah, Luke had a hard hat.
That was a fun bit. That was a fun bit.
Luke had a hard hat. He had the white hard hat that looked very similar to this. And we used to sell, we actually still do sell the white ones.
Yeah.
That was a fun bit. Luke's got a pretty good acting career if he wants it, I think. Or at least like some sort of bit comedy that he could do. Could see him on like, I Think You Should Leave or something.
We got a little code here. I like it.
Huh.
The Luke bit was pretty good. But again, I don't know. It's going to be hard to get a lot of juice going out of that first round matchup, but the second round's going to be fire for sure. That'll be a lot of fun. We're, hearing that we're looking at, potentially what, 420 for that first game. Is that right? Sunday?
Yeah. Easter Sunday. Mom's going to be pissed when she hears.
I'm hosting. I got a double Easter that day, Jimmy.
I was going to say Greek Easter falls on the same day.
Yeah, it's one of those years where it falls on the same day.
Is that because of the moon?
Yeah, it's weird shit.
Huh.
It's all that shit. Lunar calendar. Yeah.
The moon, constellations and stuff.
The moon.
Crazy.
Moon.
Which allegedly we've landed on. Show for another day. But yeah, Easter, it'll depend on the time. You want to get the Easter dinner in there if you can, ideally. We got games on Christmas, we got games on Easter. It'll be fun though. I'm just I'm ready for meaningful basketball. I feel like it's been like, man, how long has it been? I mean, I guess the Lakers game is the last time I really felt something.
Yeah, I mean, OKC
Thunder.
OKC was that litmus test,
Thunder,
and Lakers was fun because it's the Lakers. But OKC was the last time you cared. Yeah. But yeah, we've been in this, and thank you guys for hanging with us because it's hard to, we get it. It's hard to not falter a little bit here, but we're there. We're almost there. We've almost made it. We have almost made it through the season.
Good problem to have, right? Not having to worry about every last game.
Again, I say this all the time. For those, Boston centric fans of more than, those Boston fans that are fans of more than one sport. And there's a lot of you. We see a lot of Pats, Red Sox, Bruins chatter in the chat here. That's one of the best things about Boston fans. People who live in Boston and are Boston, they're fans of everything. But I mean, if you lived through the Patriots dynasty 1.0 or 2, but I'd say 2.0 more so. 2.0 was boring as shit because it was just a certainty that they were going to the AFC title game. That not a thing mattered. Not in the offseason, regular season, first round of the playoff, literally nothing mattered. They played 2 games a year. That's it. So
right.
All you would do is get mad that they weren't beating teams by enough. That's it.
That's it.
That's how good the Celtics are. So celebrate that. That's how good they are.
It's champagne problems.
We said it at the early thing. I said the first meaningful game they're going to play is the finals. Cleveland changed that. First meaningful game they'll play is Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, that'll actually be a good series. I feel like I haven't even thought. Has anyone even mentioned Cleveland in the NBA for I don't know. I feel like they're just so ignored.
But the Celtics should have been a wild card. There haven't been an automatic punch your ticket, even though certainly they have the last few years. But there's been some drama. I'd say the last 2 years certainly not. You didn't expect anything short of whatever. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's and it was new, it was new. You got to the finals that first year. You weren't sure if you would get there against
Right.
Golden State the next year, an imperfect team, but they got there. Wholesale changes, what happened last year happened, obviously. But yeah, it's a champagne problem, as you mentioned here. Hey, Brian. Hello, everyone else kind of jumping in here.
A lot of people want us to talk about KP.
I'm not.
Like too.
Does anybody think anything happened? I don't think so.
I missed the KP conversation. I don't know why I'm trying to figure out why they want us to talk about him unless it's a joke. But yeah, no, I mean, I have no issues with him not playing the second half at all. I don't think that was, like we had said, if it was an injury, they would have made some sort of an announcement. They always do that. Player will not return, blah, 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 whatever. I don't think it was anything big. Love where KP's at for the most part. What was his line tonight?
He shot poorly, but I mean, it's nothing good. Joe's direct quote on Porzingis: "He's good, perfectly fine." He didn't say why he sat.
Yeah, I mean,
because no one would follow up and ask him because everybody's afraid of Joe. He's good, perfectly fine, is what was said.
Yeah, and he wasn't really effective tonight, but I think a lot of that was just him not coming out in the second half, not being a
Can
part
I tell
of
you the Bobby
that
agenda?
Run. Yeah,
you know what Bobby. You know what Bobby's coming with, right?
No, now I don't.
Bobby's coming in with
Al.
No, he's going to come in with should they consider KP on the bench?
That's why I said Al.
Yeah. No, for
Kornet?
for Luke. Cass, I agree.
I hope he
best
does.
type of boring. There's not when you have it, you take it for granted. It's fine. It's hard to do a 90-minute post-game show, I'll tell you that. But as a fan, boring's not bad. Yeah.
Boring's not,
it's hard to sit in this chair, but who cares about that? That's all. It's just you look for storylines, you look for drama, you look for intrigue. Absolutely. I mean, you grew up during this wave of Boston sports, and the Celtics are carrying it in, which is carrying it on, which is great because everyone else is taking their lumps right now. And the Celtics are it right now. They're the team. They are the Patriots right now. They're going to get there every single year. So yeah, it could be boring because all you can do is get mad when they're not dominant. But that's where they are. It's great. Yeah. Everyone else is a Bills fan,
Right.
Like,
hey,
we're close and we lost again. Damn it.
And we're dead. Look at me. Look at us. We're in the playoffs. Everybody look up and we're gone.
Yeah. Is it over?
Yeah. No, you don't want to be a Bills fan for sure.
Fine. You're out of timeout, John, but stop saying our names. No, you did it again. You got to stop.
He didn't know. He didn't know.
It's spamming. Spammy comments.
Yeah. Like what's your, wait, you got our attention. What do you want to say?
Yeah. Thank you. We're trying to bring it night after night. It's a challenge, guys. It's a challenge. And I'm not allowed to talk about Jalen.
Should we talk about him for a few since we have to kill?
Fine, I'm going to talk about him a little.
All right. We got over 30 minutes in. I think that's pretty
I want to ask the chat. I don't want to do the talking. I've done plenty of talking. Jaylen Brown.
Hey, Jonathan.
So this is how it went down. Because it happened between shows, so we might as well talk about it. Brown missed last game while being questionable, and then it created a situation where if 65 was something that he was truly shooting for, he would have had to play both games against Charlotte at least 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And the thinking was the easier way to have done it would have been to play that first game against Orlando that everybody else sat, 15 minutes there and 15 minutes tonight, and you're done. He didn't play. He was questionable. He went through pregame warmups, didn't play. It was interesting because why wouldn't they have just shut him down to begin with? I don't know. I don't actually know. We still don't know because everyone's afraid of Joe right now.
Well, we're speculating.
And it would be speculation. But we don't. I'm just saying nobody knows why he was questionable. Nobody knows why he didn't play.
Real quick.
Nobody knows why he went out there to try to warm up to play and then did not play. Nobody knows why he was ruled out extremely early for this one. Extremely early. He was ruled out. That you don't get a rule out on somebody unless they're hurt a day in advance. So just based on protocol on how the Celtics run their injury reports, unless somebody's clearly going to be out because they're out, everybody's questionable, and then they just bang them out. Especially with the fake injuries or the rest injuries. They're questionable with something, then they go out.
Yeah,
That's how they do.
There's no benefit to announcing it early, right? I mean, you don't need to.
Yeah. This is speculation. We're not speculating yet. We're just laying out. We're laying out the cards. So he's announced very early that he doesn't play, and he doesn't. And then that's that. But we have no update. There's no injury update. There's no anything. There's no questions. There's no answers. He's not playing. It could easily just be that he's done playing until the playoffs, and that's fine. He could play next game. We don't know. So there's no anything to it. I'll ask the chat what you think. Always part of the plan? Setback? Who knows? Just regular rest? I don't know. But that's it. The all NBA thing is off the table now because of missing this game tonight.
Right. And I like the opinions coming in from the chat. What I'll say to this, John, is I think things went so poorly for him in the last game that he did play that it was almost impossible to hide.
Andrew, I don't want to fight with you, buddy. It's again, he's the only starter who was listed as questionable, and he went through warmups and didn't play. So it was curious as to why. Normally, again, we're just going on precedent. People who are questionable who go through warmups are seeing if they're healthy enough to play. That's legit questionable. The fake questionables just don't play. You know what I mean? That's how it works. The fake questionable, the guys who are load managing, Horford questionable with sprained toe, he's not warming up. They're just laying the foundation to have him sit. That's how all of those injuries work. They don't go out. They only go out and test if they're testing. That's the difference. That's what's different about this. Again, we're just laying it out there. All of those other times, those fake questionables just don't warm up. They were never going to play. They show up in street clothes and they don't even put on uniforms. They just don't play. That's usually how it goes. And they're on the bench in street clothes the whole time. So that was, it looked like or felt like he was considering going, and then something changed, whether it was physical or he just said, I'm good, man. He could have just tapped out himself. I'm all right. I feel fine, but I don't want to do it. We don't know. And then the early one was also strange because it was a determination. He is not playing in this next game. So both of those are slightly different from what they do. That's all.
And the
so we don't know. Like I said, it could be nothing, but again, it could be. What could it be? I don't know what it could be. I'm not speculating. I'm asking the chat. Everyone not worried?
The one thing we know, because we've been told this by many people, John, is that he cannot hurt himself by playing. That is the one thing we know, because for some reason, a bunch of people just know this.
Yeah.
And so him going out there and playing apparently has no effect on whether or not he'll feel better in the long run if he doesn't play. Apparently that news was broke to specific people who are Celtics fans, and they got that information. And so that's why they're okay with everything that they saw. I never got that information. Yeah. So I will say, what is it, about a week ago, Jaylen Brown looked like he was fine out there. It looked good enough. Dropped like 31 points, and I know he did a little bit differently. But at that point, I said, hey, if Jaylen Brown wants to play and hit his 65 games and he's feeling good and he's effective and he's playing well, he should be able to do that. If that's going to make him happy and he's not hurting himself and he's not in enough pain, clearly, then he should go ahead and do that. Unbeknownst to me, that clearly was not the case, because a game or two after that, he looked like a completely different player. He looked like half of the player that he was. Couldn't get up and down the court, couldn't hit shots, wasn't physical, wasn't aggressive. And I think it went so poorly for him last game, or even he couldn't justify.
Or maybe he wanted to play that one out. Like maybe in Orlando, he wanted to get out of that Knicks funk because he felt shitty. That's speculating. I don't know.
Maybe.
He went through the motions as if he was going to play, didn't play, then got ruled out early for this one. He's out. I have to assume he's going to be out for the next one. And I have to assume that we're just going to.
And I have to assume that he had a conversation with Joe at halftime of last game and said, they had an agreement that he was not going to go back out there. That wouldn't have been something that wasn't discussed prior to the third quarter. So
I know people are saying this, but we do have two performances. We have to, guys, you got to put things into proper perspective. Phoenix over the last 3 weeks is playing historically maybe the worst defense that's ever been played in the history of the NBA. And then the other game was at Washington or something. What was the other one that he played well? So, I mean, 0-0-0 resistance in a Washington team that sat all their players. So, again, grain of salt. But yeah, those games were certainly more encouraging. And after that game, we said, oh, you can live with this, JB. But even Noa, who normally has, a pretty, she's looking for not always super optimistic, but she's looking for something out of it,
say it.
Not trying to be hypercritical. No, but even she said after Phoenix, after those games, she's like, I didn't think he was moving that much different. You know what I mean? They went in there. So the shots went in, or he was doing better.
Right. Well, I think the other take that people landed on was, well, he's learning to play differently with the pain. He's learning how else he can be effective. It's trial and error out there, which, to your point, John, what you said, nobody ever does that. No player in the history of being injured is like, I'm hurt right now. I'm going to figure out a different way to play while I'm hurt instead of just get better.
They don't.
Yeah. How will I play?
It's different if it's like a broken finger, like a finger you got to learn to shoot with.
Mallet finger alert.
Yeah. Yeah, a mallet finger, you tape it up, you learn to shoot with a mallet finger. You don't go out there bone on bone and
you think Hauser was just shooting 15 jumpers with a bad back? I got to learn to play with a bad back. I feel like he was getting work done, and when he felt good enough to play, he would. Now back's probably a little bit different because that's nagging, but specifically lower body.
Jason.
We'll hear from Jason Tatum. We'll get back to the conversation.
Your accessory swap with Derrick was kind of the headline here. Can you talk us through where that idea came from, how it felt?
Do it, John.
He didn't get the JT threes?
Probably just since we probably won't play next game. He said at shoot around this morning, he was like, yo, we should do a headband game. One of the trainers may have mentioned if D White dressed like me during the game. So it was kind of like their idea. And just agreed to it and ran with it. Felt different. I ain't wear long tights like that in a long time. Feel like I'm too tall to wear ankle socks. So that was the weirdest part. I just felt like I didn't have socks on my legs.
You get your 15th tech in this one. You had mentioned that Joe has joked around with you about getting the 16th and getting suspended. Did he say anything after you got the tech? Was there any kind of interaction with him there?
No, because 2 of them been rescinded. So today was my 13th.
Oh, was it the 13th?
It was some bullshit, but it was my 13th tech today.
Fine, Colin.
And your preparation for the playoffs now, you're starting to hone in. You're starting to get a sense of Orlando or Atlanta. What's it like now? Just kind of turning the page.
It's cool. Another incredible season. 60+ win team, and obviously the goal is to compete for championships. But I think enjoying the process along the way and cherishing those small wins per se, and acknowledging that we had another incredible regular season. Something to be proud of for sure. But now just kind of shifting gears and getting our minds and our bodies right for what's to come.
With Charles here, how would you describe the impact that he had on last season's team and on you personally?
Yeah, Charles had a tremendous impact on our team. His energy, obviously his knowledge of the game, how he impacted everybody individually and as a team. We did something special last year, and whether it's Charles or the assistant coaches that left with him, Blaine and Buck, those guys will always be bonded and connected for life. So couldn't be, happier for those guys and, in their new positions and, where their careers are going. But it was a blessing and it was a joy to have those guys here for that year. And obviously what we accomplished, something that we'll be able to hang on for the rest of our life.
And then you and Luke have become one of the most effective pick and roll tandems in the league. The numbers are right up there with Jokic
What's your
and
favorite
Murray.
color?
How would you describe the growth
like
from you two
Luke's
working
stuff,
together
though.
and what makes it so effective?
Oh man, Luke is the leap that he's taken this year and what he's provided off the bench and the nights
Allison,
that he's had to
it's
start.
him or us. We don't have anything better to say.
Our connection
Yes,
throughout the pick and roll and constant communication and talks and during the game, on off days and whatever. And Luke just has a great feel for the game. He's such a selfless player. He's always looking to get me open, off ball, on ball. And I trust him so much, when they double me or if the big is up to touch, throwing the ball to Luke in the seams or obviously him being a rim threat for lobs. So it's been one of the more successful things for our team this year, just, me and Luke on the floor together and being in actions together.
Jason, with the playoffs about to start up, when you look back to where you were at this time last year, where do you feel like you've improved or grown or changed the most as a player?
I would say a year from now, just, understanding the game a little bit more. I feel like I say it all the time. I just try to get a little bit better year after year.
It's nobody's fault, guys. They're playing Charlotte in game 81. It's nobody's fault. There's nothing we could do. Louise, yes,
it's off. It's over.
Jalen slander. Let's go.
You guys thought it was like,
yeah. Tatum was bored too, no question about it.
It goes to show how difficult it is after a game.
It is.
We keep it going. We have the end. We bring it. We bring it.
We're trying.
We'll get
We will.
Bobby up here.
We'll continue on in 1 second here. We do need to give a formal shout out to our pals over at Prize Picks. And again, best place to get real money sports action. Over 10 million members, billions of dollars in awarded awarded winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. Pick more, pick less, at least 2 players, shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Yeah. When you do that, you can mix and match sports too, which I think is really cool. And you got a lot of stuff going on right now with the baseball season starting, basketball playoffs, hockey playoffs, everything kind of happening all at once. It's a really fun time to be a sports fan and get in on the action here with Prize Picks. Great features. You're always going to get cool promotions with free squares, Taco Tuesday, Freaky Friday. Check those out on the app. And
Freaky Friday.
When you download the app and use the code CLNS, you see it right there. Play 5, get 50 instantly. Once again, download the app. Promo code CLNS. Play 5, get 50 instantly. Prize Picks. Run your game. Let's dip back in and see what Jason Tatum's saying.
The makeup of our team and guys' willingness to get outside themselves and truly just finding a way each possession to do what they can to impact it in a positive way on both ends. It was why we just have such a special group.
Last question to Gary.
Jason, what has this year been like for you as not you, but as a team and leader as defending the championship? Everybody's taking shots at you, and every night somebody's trying to, is playing out of their heads. It seems like it's been a more challenging year in terms of just defending it, and every night the challenge of someone kind of playing over their heads. What's it been like to be the defending champ?
It's been a lot of fun, honestly, this year. Bringing everybody back besides O'Shea, we have such a joy and a connection with each other that, it was some tough moments or whatever it may be. But, with 1 game left in the season, I can say that everybody has felt valued. Everybody has played a part in our success this season. Everybody understands the common goal that we share. And, we know who we are. We know who we are individually. We know what we bring to this team to make it what it is. And we have so much fun, doing what we do. And, you realize when you're on special teams and
Nope. Couldn't get through it.
More on that.
What? Yeah, more on. Jimmy, go ahead. Tell the folks.
We got eye masks coming, folks. We have eye masks that are in production right now. You're going to be able to purchase them hopefully next week. Why would I buy eye masks? Well, it's pretty simple. There's a few reasons. One, we get some sleepy press conferences. Two, we get some late night games. And I know we have people, not me. We have people on this show late.
What are those? What are those like, Jimmy?
Maybe I'll be able to jump on a show or two if I can sort of doze off in between with my sleep mask. And three, I'm calling the sleep mask. If it's a sleep mask game, it's like the opposite of a hard hat game. Sometimes I want to toss on the sleep mask watching this Celtics. I can't watch any longer. So we're going to have some sleep mask merch coming up onto the store soon. We got some hoodies coming up. We got some beanies. We got t-shirts. We got sleep masks. And we got string bags too coming, John. See, Garden Report
I love
string
those.
bags. And I'm making them. I'm not going to make a penny on I'm making them as least expensive as I possibly can because I want merch flying off the shelves. I want people representing the show, the podcast, CLNS. So we're going to have a bunch of fun stuff coming up. And guys, get your hard hats now. Put the orders in now. Get them in time for the playoffs. You're going to be slamming your head up against the wall, slamming your hand against the hat for this playoff run. I think this Celtics team, more so than last year, John, I know this actually as a fact. This isn't even speculation. This is truth. They're going to have to play more hard hat style basketball because of the opponents that are coming up, coming their way. So we're going to need all hands on deck, hard hats, lunch pails, steel toe boots, get them ready to go. And if they don't, then it's going to be a short is extremely talented. Don't get me wrong. And when they're hitting their shots, no one's going to beat them. But there's going to be games where they're going to need to be physical. They're going to need to punch back. They're going to need to run into a wall, and they need to be prepared.
We got back scratchers, and
I love that. I'm writing that down.
A foot bath.
We got foot massage. I'm telling you, sleep masks. Sleep masks are the next big thing. I called hard hats, John. Everybody said hard hats will never sell. Don't do it. You're an idiot. You're
Speculation alert.
You're gonna bankrupt us. Well, I didn't.
We need our own toothpaste, but I think we'd have to go through like FDA approval. I don't even actually know if there is an FDA anymore. It might have been dismantled.
Well, it depends if you believe in toothpaste. Some people don't. Some people don't.
People are asking me crazy questions from behind the scenes, like, "Do you want me to? Do I have a minute of Craig sound? Do you want me to load it?" And like,
that is crazy. Actually.
This is just crazy shit to be asking me right now.
Yeah.
Do I want Craig's sound, guys? And I swear, I'll say it. I said I'm not. We've got Derrick White sound. I am not playing it. If it's 50% about
no, actually, I kind of want to hear. I kind of want to hear
God.
that. I kind of need to. It's like
fine. Put it on. It's like that tonguing that like sore in your mouth.
Exactly.
That good pain.
It hurts so good.
Fine. Here it is. Here's Derrick White talking about his clothes.
Well, we don't even know, but we assume it's the first question.
To change accessories.
I can't remember who said.
It was a trainer.
He said, "Should we do it?" And I said, "Yeah."
He said, "Headband game."
We're all kind of around there. Kind of just ran with it from there.
With the celebration too. I mean, you went full Jason Tatum.
Yeah, I was trying.
John, can I wear your sweatpants next game?
Just kind of have fun with it.
We really thought after he hit a three, he'd
wear glasses in my PSG hat next game.
Yeah, he said he was gonna maybe do that, but must have slipped his mind.
Heat of the moment.
Yeah, it happens.
You guys are gonna have a pretty long layoff this week.
Nice, Bobby.
The last couple of years here. So what's that week like for you guys? How much of it is winding down? How much of it is ramping up for?
Is it true that Jalen's knee exploded?
A little bit of everything. Coaching staff does a good job of giving us some time off, but also the practices are highly focused, and
you are.
We get a lot out of them. So
could be anybody.
Nothing we haven't done in the past. And,
could literally be any one of us.
It's not necessarily me.
Yeah, he didn't say it was me. So.
You never know. It's one game. Anything could happen. Just watch the game, figure out who it is, and then prepare from there.
How do you feel about just kind of where you guys are at now? Obviously, assuming since the last game, all the stars will play together. Now the playoffs are going to be here soon.
I feel good. I think we're playing the right way and kind of hitting our stride at the right time. And so we all been here before and understand what the playoffs takes. And so it's going to be a lot of fun, and we just got to be mentally prepared for whatever it takes.
What's it been like kind of waiting? I mean, obviously winning a championship last year, teams that have won in the past talk about kind of.
Can't do it anymore.
I couldn't do it. I do love Derrick White, though.
We like Derrick White. Derrick White, friend of the show.
Fault. It's not the reporter's fault. There's nothing to talk about, nothing to ask. It's not the player's fault. There's no juice. It just is what it is.
It's not your fault.
It's not your fault.
John, it's not your fault.
It's not your fault.
It's not your fault, man.
Don't say that to me, Jimmy.
It's not your fault, Jalen.
Don't do that to me. Not you, Sean. Not you, Jimmy.
Not now.
Crap. I'll take the wrench.
Did you finish the Jalen take, or did you get cut off with the Tatum?
I don't have a Jalen take. I want the chat to tell me.
Yeah, just like the setup.
I want the chat to tell me whether or not they feel the way they've always felt, that he'll either be better or he's fine, and there was never any real cause for concern, or that him not playing or him almost playing and then not playing is a weird sign. It doesn't bode well, or just nothing to see here. I mean, I don't think there's any. I mean, I think the answer is not an answer people want. I think you've got the cooked version of him that you saw against the Knicks.
How about this?
Yeah.
Should we sit JB out for the first round?
I've been on this for a while.
Well, let me just say this.
I really wish they had done it mid-March and sat him for a round, and you could have gotten all the way to May in about 6 weeks. I don't know if that would have made the difference or not, but I think you could have survived all of that easily. But anyway.
Yeah. Kind of what I was thinking. It's like now if you sit him, people are going to say, well, wait a second. Why was he playing, a week ago? Did he do more damage? And now he has to sit through the playoffs. But if he had just sat and got the rest the whole way through, there'd be a lot of concern right now. Absolutely. Because wow, where's Jaylen Brown? Why can't he play?
He may be fucking with us too. I'm not putting this aside, but yeah, go ahead, Jimmy.
No, I mean, either way, you'd be nervous because if he wasn't playing at all, you'd almost be treating it as a total zero. Like, we don't know if this guy's going to be back. We don't know what he's going to look like when he does come back. We don't know if the Celtics can count on him at all. Maybe there's some panic starts to set in that way. The panic meter is going to be off the charts. It still was kind of off the charts, I think, with you the last time we ran it with Jalen. But now the fact that he's played recently, a couple of days ago, it would look really bad now if he were to miss playoffs.
He can't sit.
Right. You really can't.
You're locked in. Yeah, right. You're locked in.
You kind of took that option off the shelf when you decided to play these last couple weeks. Even if he stopped playing a week or 10 days ago, you could have sold it. And
Eric, I'm not going to make you pay twice. I'm putting this up here.
Let's assume the worst. All right, this is what Eric writes. Let's assume the worst. JB is out indefinitely. Do you like our chances to go back to the finals? I like him a lot less. If he's straight up out. I still think the Celtics can cruise to the Eastern Conference Finals without Jaylen Brown. And I still think they can give the Cavs a run for their money without Jaylen Brown. But it would be pretty disrespectful of me to just write off the Cavs with the Celtics' second best player completely out. I think the Cavs would give them a real run for their money. I have a healthy Celtics. I have the healthy Celtics over the Cavs without a doubt in my mind. But if you're telling me Jaylen Brown's straight up out, or even worse, he's in at 50%, which is actually worse, then I'm not sure I do think the Celtics could.
They're laughing because they came onto the show during Jaylen talk.
There's no way.
Guys,
are you kidding me?
It's time for blame pod.
Down in a week.
59-47 into the show. You guys show up because you had to listen to these guys talk about accessory swaps. You couldn't come on a little earlier.
Yeah.
My God, we're dying here.
The only
59 minutes in.
Dying. I don't
get into
You guys
what
are two of the biggest talkers I
then,
know. How is this possible?
We're an hour in on the Tory Craig game.
Oh my God!
By the way, had 2 points.
It was about time for a Tory Craig game.
I dipped in and out of Tatum twice. Like, you guys are killing us.
Yeah,
Get on the show.
We listened to the Tatum press conference for so long that we needed to give CPR to this chat. Everybody was dead by the time we got out of the Tatum, and then we had to talk Jaylen to fire people up again.
We're like, fine. A super chat asked about Jaylen. No, we're not doing first round.
Oh my
opponents,
God, there
Bobby.
it is. There it is. We knew it. We knew it.
I said it right away. I was like, Bobby's got spreadsheets.
Bobby can't wait to talk about the Hawks or the
I have
Magic.
percentages.
Go ahead. You guys go.
Well, Noah's going to start with the Davison dunk. Let's hear it.
Yeah, let's start from the fourth quarter back.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is that if we were able to see the fourth quarter's performance the other night against Orlando, my trip to Orlando would have been worth it. Okay. We saw some signs
you
of
didn't even
life.
have to go. You could have seen it right here.
Yeah, but no, I'm not going to do the JD Davison dunk, although it was a nice dunk. But I'm not going to do it.
A lot more starters tonight than I expected, though. They went in the third quarter. We saw a ton of Horford and Tatum and White and Holiday. I thought they'd play like maybe a quarter, especially after they played 10 straight minutes in the first quarter there. But they want to see those guys together one more time. Tatum, as you guys heard, said they're not going to play Sunday. So this was it.
Joe didn't say that.
They wanted their run.
Tatum said that.
Yeah, but Joe didn't. Joe said every game's really important.
Yeah, right. Just Wednesdays was.
And that they're going to talk about it tomorrow. But did he lie?
Are we off the Porzingis concern, by the way?
I don't
People
know.
on Twitter were freaking out.
They were freaking out, yeah.
Because the
Well,
chat,
did you guys ask?
That was the replies.
Did
the
you
chat
ask
wants us to
Joe
talk about
the
Porzingis, but Joe had one comment and that was it, and then we have no other information. That he just said he's fine and that's it.
Yeah, there was no injury note, and he didn't come back to the sideline, so it was weird. But
I think he just bailed.
I think they just wanted to see 18 minutes of him and then just moved on. Again, that's a bubble wrap guy. I know everyone wants to see Jaylen in bubble wrap, but Kristaps was the original bubble wrap guy, so I'm glad they did that tonight. And I don't think they need to go as long as the starters as they necessarily did here, but now that it's looking like game one's going to be Sunday next weekend, it's going to be a long layoff here, so I get why they did it.
I got too many Easters to do that, Bobby. You might have to do that one without me. I'm going to put this one up here.
Oh, it's
yeah,
it's 2 Easters. Marshall,
they're both
Dean, if
they're both the 20th, huh?
Spam.
Noah,
Just
did
like
you
that.
ever?
I got
do an
a
Easter egg
ham
hunt?
and a lamb, Bobby. JB, if JB is not 100% through the playoffs, could y'all see? And this is from Marshall Bean. Thank you very much for the super chat. Could y'all see KP being what JB was last year? I don't know exactly, but I'll have not exactly, but I think he's going to have to fill more of an offensive load. But similarly, how KP was out until the finals, or is the field that much better? P.S. Love the show, y'all. Thank you, Marshall. We love you too.
Thanks,
We've
Marshall.
addressed this a little bit here. It's not quite the same because I think the margin for error isn't as great as it was last year, where they could be without KP the whole time and still steamroll people. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
I don't think their roles overlap enough for me to feel good about that. I don't know.
No, I think it's more just not. I feel like I have this. This is like my most boring talking point, but it's more just that collectively people are going to have to make it up, and Porzingis is going to have to go from.
I feel better about Derrick making it up.
Yeah, like a 10% contribution last playoff run to like a 70%. Like he was really not
little
involved.
Contribution pie.
I could do a contribution pie.
Yeah.
And then I think Derrick's capable of a higher usage rate. I think, like I said, I think Tatum's going to be more efficient this postseason. So I wouldn't put it all on KP, but certainly like he was not much of a factor for most of that run, and we expect right now that he will be. He's been healthy since January. Knock on wood, but that's kind of
not
been.
Wood.
I don't know how many wood
I'm doing it right now.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, they're going to need a lot more Porzingis, whether Brown's in there or not this year. I think it's just going to be a tougher road. There's going to be tougher defenses in front of them. I'm already anticipating Orlando a little bit, and that's where I think they're going to need him a ton to spread that team out and be able to attack some of their guards and some of the switching they might do there. So I think he's going to be crucial either way. And if Brown's out, I still go back to the conversation we had the other night. If he does miss some time here, I think they're going to be in a tough spot later in the playoffs. Like if it's earlier that he ended up missing time or being limited, I think they're in a better spot to be able to sustain through that. And it is Porzingis a little bit, but I think it's more White who steps into some of the ball handling duties, some of the mismatch attacking, some of the two-man game with Porzingis we've seen.
Why are we speculating? Why are we speculating Brown might be out? I mean, the understanding here is at this point. No, but I mean, not out, but limited. I think more is what the thinking. Okay. I think more it was like Brown being down or Brown not being around. But we're not. There's no indication that like this is just us saying who knows, right? Because he's got a weird injury.
Play the sound, John.
I would be stunned right now if Jalen's out for a playoff game off the top. I would be stunned. Like that's not at all what I'm sensing as far as what we're hearing with just the general tone around this injury has been. Whether he's limited, that's a different story. But I would be very surprised.
I don't think
the limited thing would be really tough.
The what?
If he's legit, clearly limited though.
Well, he's gonna be limited.
He's gonna be limited.
Yeah, have you been watching him play?
To how many minutes?
Minutes limited.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
I don't know. I don't really get. I never understand minute limits.
Watch the games, Bobby.
Damn it, Bobby.
If he plays like 30 minutes, like I don't know, what's the difference between playing 30 and 35? Like, does your body really know?
He's got to play 40. This is the playoffs.
Yeah, in the first rounds though.
Yes, this is where it becomes a big concern, and this is why we're freaking out. And here we go again, right? We're doing this again.
You're freaking out. I'm freaking calm as can be.
Freaking out, man.
The playoffs aren't ease into things, play a different way, play 30 minutes sort of thing. It's full go. And we haven't seen that from him yet. We haven't seen the big minutes. We haven't seen him be able to go 100%, certainly not on the defensive end. Offensively, we've seen him get it done a different way, but it's not a concern of him being out. It's not a concern of this thing just being too overwhelming for him to get through. It's that you mentioned it a little bit the other night when you were talking about, do you rather have a diminished Brown or no Brown? A diminished Brown could just be so disruptive to the rotation, to the ball movement, to everything that they're doing out there. And then you get put in that tough spot of, do you play him or do you pull him if he's not looking good at all? And that's where, again, we have no idea where he's going to be a week from tomorrow. But all we've seen so far is him be limited on a minutes basis and him mostly look limited physically. And so he's going to be out there next Sunday, right? But what Brown are we going to see? You said it, John. It's Brown dressed up. It's not Brown. It's someone dressed up in a Brown costume. And that's where we're at right now.
Wow.
Don't remind people what I was saying.
Wow.
They're upset. They're upset about it. Eric back on with his...
You think they could get by with like 30 minutes of Brown?
No, I was going to say, can one of you guys look up how many minutes per game Jalen averaged last playoffs?
Impossible.
I bet it's like 38.
No, Jimmy can do it.
If only there was like an information super.
I'm really high on Drew Holiday, Eric Polanco coming back in with a super chat, and we'll investigate after we throw this up here. I'm really high on Drew Holiday. I think he can pick up the slack for potential JB absence. I think we underestimate what he can do on offense. I would tend to agree here, being kind of president of the Drew Holiday fan club here. I think
kind of that.
I am, but I've been.
He has been for a long time.
Noah, you're new-ish to this group. I've been crying for Holiday to be a Celtic.
No,
for 5
I am.
years,
Oh, really? I didn't know that about you.
Yeah, with the program.
Yeah. I didn't know.
Yeah. No, I was like, that's who you. I was,
you guys should have briefed me when I started the show. Like, this is who John.
You should have been watching the Garden Report all these years.
Rob Williams. No, it's fine. Holiday was my this is who everyone thinks Marcus Smart is, and I don't want to slander Smart, but I always thought like Holiday's that guy. He does it all, and offensively he's better. But then when the Kemba stuff arose, I remember that was like. People were floating like they might try to get Holiday, and some people were like, "For Kemba, that's crazy." And I was like, "Are you guys nuts? Like, do this 10 times over." So I've wanted that for a while. But anyway, yeah. Look, we've talked about Holiday, right, guys? Like one of the reasons he sometimes has these crap numbers or, the 3-pointer was off for a little bit is because that's all they were asking him to do in this offense. And he doesn't get to be, you don't get the full Holiday. And Noah, you've pointed it out a bunch of times in those games where you're missing 2 and 3 people, you see what Holiday can do when he's asked to take on an expanded role. This plays once again back into the, are you better with a limited Jalen or no Jalen? Because the no Jalen liberates Holiday a little bit more to just, okay, I got to take on a little bit more of an offensive burden, and I've done that, and I'll do that, as opposed to, well, we're going to have to see if Jalen's got it tonight and let him do his thing to varying degrees of, effectiveness, and then Holiday just kind of gets stuck in the corner there, and you hope his threes fall, otherwise he's not going to contribute much offensively.
Yeah, and think of how frustrated we're going to be if we are in a spot in the first round where that series just keeps extending. Maybe they lose a game or two because they just don't have things lined up rotation-wise, and he's trying to figure out into the playoffs. And again, there's nothing you can do.
And you need his defense too.
We'll all be screaming, oh, he should have sat earlier if that happens. But at this point, it just is what it is. I mean, they got the 11, 12 days here. They're going to have to figure out what the plan is there, how he reacts to the treatment, which I'll be interested to hear that next week as well. But Holiday could be part of the solution here. And I'm a little disappointed because we talked about after those Miami and Brooklyn games a couple weeks ago. He was on the ball. He was running pick and rolls. He had like 9 assists in a couple of those games during that stretch there. We haven't seen him in that role since. He's back to just taking 5-6 shots and being pretty limited in this offense. So I don't know what to expect about him going into the playoffs, but it should be a bigger conversation.
I think a lot of it is going to be matchup dependent. Like if he is not being guarded much, or if the opposing team's star player, who's not a great defensive player, guards him. Like I thought that was one of the most brilliant things they did last year in the postseason, was just up his usage, up his aggression, especially really intentionally, is almost like a form of defense. And I think we've talked about that before. So the good thing about somebody in his position and his experience and all the, the big moments that he's been a part of is that I don't think he needs to have necessarily had the reps all year to now have a game where it's like, okay, you're going to go and be aggressive tonight. Like, I think he knows how to do that. And so, if you look last year, he had much bigger scoring performances in the playoffs than during the regular season. And I didn't know what to expect because we had never seen him have those kinds of performances as a Celtic. But a year earlier, he had a 50-point game and was an all-star, right? So we know it's not that far away from where he is now. And I think he's in a pretty good spot health-wise. And so I expect that he'll definitely increase his load in the playoffs if he needs to. And I think the Jalen thing is going to sort itself out one way or another. Either he's going to be unable to really be impactful, and we're probably not going to see a whole lot of him, or he's going to be. I would be very surprised if it ends up being like he's right on the fringe of like, is he helping or is he hurting? It's going to be pretty clear in either direction. And during the season, it's been different because I really do think that he's been going out there for a 15-minute spurt to try something, but in the playoffs, it's not going to be that. It's either going to be he's helping them and he's just playing through the pain, or he's a liability, and that's going to be it.
I do have to give the victory on the All-NBA thing.
Oh wait, so hold on. Say that again.
I do have to give Noah the victory on the All-NBA thing.
Which was what?
Who knows
what
would
we'll
happen?
Never know for sure. We'll never know for sure.
We have no idea. We still don't know.
John,
I don't have the evidence, John. So,
but we don't know.
I thought he was going for it, but now
I still think he was going for it, but it doesn't matter. I mean, we don't know.
Jimmy said he was going for 64.
Yeah,
it worked out perfectly.
That's what it was, Jimmy.
Yeah,
well, I don't care if it's true. I still like
Louise. We're not turning on Jalen. We are saying they need healthy Jalen, but they might not have it. That's simply it.
It's the opposite.
It's the opposite. It's if you're without him, how do you make it work? And we talked about offensively, other people carrying the load. Could you see defensively him playing the Holiday role a little bit more, playing a big, maybe in the post or something like that? Just because if he's not moving laterally well enough to shut down the other team's best player, that's going to have to go to a White or a Holiday or Tatum for that matter. Those tougher defensive assignments with the other team's alpha. And if Jalen can't answer the bell because he's not moving well enough, you got to find something else to do with him. So you might find him floating a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. And Joe needs to be decisive in how he handles him and what role he puts him in and the minutes and all of that. I know Jalen's going to want to guard the best guy. Jalen's going to want to play a lot. Jalen's going to want to be out there in crunch time. I don't think there's any doubt about any of those things. But if it's not the best decision for them down the stretch, that's where it goes on Joe to be able to say, all right, we got to do something else here instead of, let's just do what Jalen feels like. Yeah. And I actually do have a little bit of a confidence in Joe being able to do that because I've seen him do it in the past.
But it's crazy we're having this conversation, right? Like we're having a conversation about I mean, all of us right now. This isn't like a bunch of doomers. This is people in the chat flat out saying sit him through round 2 or that's fine. We're talking about potential minutes restrictions. We're talking, Noah's saying we'll know early if we've got him, if what type of Jalen you have. Bobby's like, Joe's got to be able to pull the plug on him if he's not good enough. These are horrible conversations to be having regarding Jaylen Brown. They all of these options are terrible.
Look at what we just watched on Tuesday. Now, the good thing is we've seen him look great, too. Like, it's not like we haven't seen any great
I wouldn't be totally unsubstantiated. If I had to pick right now, just going off my gut feeling, I wouldn't be surprised if he starts the first game and goes off for 30 and looks completely normal to us. And, like, I truly would not be shocked if that happens, because I do think that he's been holding back medically. I do think that he hasn't pushed himself 100% to figure this out. And maybe he won't, maybe he'll be sore the next day or whatever, but I very much would not. I could see us sitting right here after game 1 and being like, well, remember all that discourse around Jalen, and he looked completely fine.
I mean, we've done that plenty of
times.
So
I don't know. But again, the other thing is just when we're projecting an injury so much, like, actually, I'm not going to put this energy out into the universe. So
do it.
Never know what she was going to say.
No.
Come on,
Noah, do it.
I'm not putting it in names. I'm just going to say, I think we've spent so much energy and time thinking about Jalen's bone bruise, right? And rightfully so. He's important. It's a knee. Knees are important. But when the postseason starts, anybody can get hurt at the snap of a finger, and it's just so hard to forecast health. The same way that we can't forecast whether he's going to be available. Like, we're talking about who's going to step up for the entire playoff run. I'm not taking anybody's health for granted, right? Like, that's the big X factor with the playoff run. And so Jalen's is an X factor, but really everybody's health is an X factor. And that's what separated teams from being championship teams or not. So I don't want to put that energy out there. So that's why I didn't want to say it. But
always
with Jalen.
In the thing that I wrote, for CLNS,
I was just going to go there.
But I mean, there's a long list of it. You've got, like I said, in some cases, and here's the funny thing about the Jaylen Brown narrative here. It has nothing to do with Jaylen Brown. People are just nuts. You guys got to chill. It's not Jaylen Brown. It's player X who is important, who is limited and suffering with an injury. Should player X have rested? I mean, everyone's got to stop. It's the Jalen agendas that are messing up the conversation. Like, this is about Jalen. It's about a good player and whether or not he can play. It was Porzingis last year. Can he come in? Can he help you with that thing? Is it pointless to have him out there with his foot? It's just a question about an injury and if the guy can play through it.
We talked about Porzingis just as much.
Yeah, I think the reason, though, that it became
everyone's got to mellow out on that stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think the reason
no agendas
charged for people, though, is because I think the conversation spun from, like, should they rest him or should they play him, or to, like, is he being selfish? Like, is he putting himself over the team? Like, I think that's when it becomes, for people, like, they become very defensive about players. With Porzingis, we haven't really ever seen it go there because it's always been assumed that he's incapable of playing, or he's capable and he's hurt. But like, I think the big discourse with Jalen is like it kind of was more about his character and his desire to pursue an award over the team's success, and so that's always going to charge people up, I think. So
that's going to charge people up too.
The conversation shifted a little bit away from.
But again, if it were Tatum, the same conversation. Like, is he playing for 60? Because Tatum is going to get it. Like, Brown was fringy. If Tatum was playing through pain, when Tatum sprained his ankle and we saw him warming up 2 days later, everybody's like, what is he doing?
I was like, are you kidding
Everyone
me?
freaked out. Like, you're so important. Why are you doing this? Like, people freaking out over Jalen's injury is a testament to how much they think of him, not the opposite.
Right, yeah. But I think at one point it switched a little bit. Like, I think there was a discourse around, like, should he rest?
Yeah.
And I hate
thought it might be, again, it made no sense. As we said, this isn't typically how athletes deal with injuries. They just rest. And so kind of sneaking in there and forcing in those minutes, I mean, and again, it just started to, is this what's happening? And if it was, it's bad form. But if we're talking about a guy being limited, missing minutes and this and that, it's hard. It's going to be hard to argue whether it was Jalen's doing or the Celtics just letting it happen, that it wasn't mismanaged. That's going to be a story. Whether or not it had to do with Jalen's desire to get to a benchmark. If Jaylen Brown comes in, plays game 1, misses another game, or he's on a minutes restriction, this and that, it's going to be really, really hard not to say, like, did they do this right? And this is not, people watch other sports, right? Like, this isn't the first time an injury has been managed I'm not saying it has
potentially
been
mismanaged.
Potentially mismanaged happens all the time.
Right. And I think that's a very fair concern. But even Porzingis' comment, what Porzingis said after New York was he has this Warriors mindset, and maybe we don't need that right now. He didn't say he's really pursuing awards, and maybe we don't need that right now. I think the awards thing is why people got charged up about this, because it's not he's so physically like this Warriors thing that he has where he goes underwater and lifts up weights and pools and all this other things that have made him who he is. Maybe this time it's gotten out of hand and somebody needs to rest him. It became, is he selfish?
Here's my thing about that.
We don't have enough to work with. That's why I think this became such a big
Here's
thing.
my thing about that, though. And listen, John asked him the question. He said no. So maybe you just stop right there. But it's a rule that's in place now. It's a number he was up against, and it's something he kept appearing in games, seemingly working toward. And now he's ineligible for it, and he sat a game that he could have played in to get there. So there's definitely a chance I was wrong and any other people who thought that was wrong. But how can you not bring it up as a potential factor when it's sitting right there?
I think it's fair to bring it up, and that's why it became the big discussion over the last few weeks. But
and I never ripped
I think
them
we were
for
saying
it.
like, why did it become such a heated thing? It's because it was never like KP said. It was all like, I think the most realistic thing is that if he is playing and he shouldn't be playing, it's probably because he's in his head like, I'm gonna just do this because he is. This is what makes these guys NBA stars, is that they're not like us. They're not sitting here rationally being like, I'm going to rest because it's like the right thing for my future. Like, they're obsessive with like competing.
The biggest thing that was hard to wrap your head around the whole time is the fact that he had a minutes limit. Like, if you have a minutes limit,
I just want to rest, I guess. Fine.
You?
Yeah.
I think I want to rest.
You know what I mean, though? Like, they all think they're going to be MVP. If you ask Pritchard right now, are you going to be an all-star? Absolutely. Like, he wants to be on the U.S. Olympic team. He's already talked about that on podcast. He thinks he's going to be on the U.S. Olympic team.
No, guys want to be.
They're not operating in the same field as us as far as like what's realistic and what's that's how they got here.
Right, and that's where the does he know he's going to make the team thing or not gets tricky, Jimmy? Because I'm sure the whole way through he thought he could probably make it if that was a consideration for him.
Yeah.
But again, he sat out this game. He made himself ineligible, so we'll never really know there. And I guess you just have to take him at his word.
Unless you have about it one day.
Again, it doesn't. It doesn't matter. You're here now. It's right now. It's just you're waiting till game one to see what you got, and then again, you hope that it's nothing. The best case scenario is this. Best case scenario is clearly he was going 60% on purpose, not from pay. Like there's another gear that he knows he can hit, and he's feeling it out, and that's why it looked as bad as it did. And it's not even like some magical treatment.
And maybe he can get better over 12 days. That's a long time.
I mean, yeah, but again, if you could have gotten better over 12 days, you could have gotten way better over 50 days. So like again, that would piss me off more that like, oh, the 12 days made all the difference. Like, what are we doing? That's ridiculous. But he might have been literally like, I'm going to just go through the paces here because it doesn't matter. And that's all I'm doing. And that's fine. And that he has it. He can play with it. It's just a pain threshold thing. He can do more. And we just haven't seen it because
I also think
that's it. That's the best case scenario. Huh?
He loves us being in this, talking about him and debating what his motives are and all that. Like, I do think this is kind of the perfect storm from Jalen's perspective. So I have no idea what he's going to look like next Sunday. Again, he could come out here and score 30 and we'll just all be like, whoop, we talked about that for 2 weeks for nothing. But the worry is that it looks so different night to night that, even if he does score 30 in that first game, we're going to be like, all right, what's it going to look like in game two? And we're just going to keep having this conversation over and over again, which is frustrating. But like you said, John, it's such a giant factor here in their potential championship or falling short that what else are we even going to talk? There's no other concern on the roster right now. Everything else has been sorted out. This is the only thing you can
and they're playing great. They're playing great. And again, we've talked about that this team might be better than last year's team, but they're only better than last year's team if Jaylen Brown is 100%. Yeah. If not, they are slightly reduced, and that's fine.
Charles Lee said that.
Yeah, he said a
pregame.
Right?
Charles Lee said, that they're a better team this year than last year from what he sees on the outside. So that confirms what Jalen said a couple weeks ago. That confirms, I think, the versatility you see a little bit more. Luke might be honestly the biggest difference because I'm really curious to see how it's going to look in the playoffs. But his ascension has been like one of the biggest.
Back to that Porzingis thing, why he went out of this game. I actually think they wanted to see, and this goes back to our preseason conversation, Luke with the starters. And I was looking at the top 10 combinations.
Put it on the board, Jimmy.
In the league. Tatum,
No, this is actually valid.
Tatum, Kornet.
I know, but I said this is what Bobby's coming in hot with. But go ahead, yeah.
So this is something we got to talk about going into the playoffs. Not only are you going to see Luke, which I don't know which one of you said it, but one of you had some doubts about how much we'd see of Luke when the playoffs come around.
Do I have an agenda animation? No.
I think we're going to see.
We need one of those every time me or Bobby talk about anything.
I think we're going to see a lot of Luke, like 20 minutes maybe, in these playoff games. They're going to have Luke out there a ton in these games because they've been amazing with him out there. And, you know, I guess this is like my victory lap 10 this season here on him.
Yeah, you deserve it.
He went from a point where
don't enable him.
All right, he'll look good some nights.
This is the one thing we agree on. Let us have this.
Then some nights
we need a victory cam
too.
Yeah. We needed an I was right.
Noah finally let me have my Luke thing. She tried to encroach on it a little bit earlier this year, but she realized it's my thing here. He is playing amazing
Stand down, Noah.
every night.
Yeah.
At this point, he comes into the game, and I don't know if you agree with this, Jimmy John, but he plays amazing every night at this point. He's on the boards. He's scoring 10 points. He's setting the perfect screens. He's barking at the bench. He's blocking shots. I mean, he comes out here and plays like that 20 million center that I've been dreaming of all these years. And this is beyond even my wildest dreams, how good he's gotten at this point.
You know what I think the biggest thing is? It struck me during Tatum's postgame. There might be nobody else on the roster that looks for Tatum and works with Tatum in mind the way that
his
Luke
whole
does.
job.
Like Luke exists on the floor to make life easier for Jason Tatum, and not everybody else on the floor is like that because a lot of people have their own offensive actions, their own things that they're looking for. And when he was talking about a postgame, you could see how he lit up when Bobby Kravitsky asked him about that combo. And obviously we've talked to him about it a couple of times, but that might be the key here. And I don't want to diminish like Luke as himself, but that combination has just unlocked both of them.
I think we're going to get to the playoffs and people nationally are going to be like, holy crap,
yeah, I think
what got into this guy?
I don't know about that.
Shock
What's his worst matchups? Like, which matchups along the way are you most concerned
and
about?
that was
Nurkic tonight.
Okay, I'll give you that one.
Nurkic was just knocking him all over the floor. Holy shit.
No,
but Nurkic is a classic guy that's gonna like destroy everybody and then like not ever be in the playoffs.
And when you look at last year, like he played in the first round, he played in the second round, he was decent in
Very
both
little
those.
though.
But then you got to that third round, and
I'm not kidding. It's really physical, true centers like
yeah.
No, I think it's a speed jump.
What about a Miles Turner? Like, are we worried about a Miles Turner?
I'm worried about the Pacers if it comes to that because they're just so fast, and he's still not a speed guy.
How's he doing against the Cavs? I gotta go.
Cavs, he'll be great. He'll play those double big lineups. He'll be a strength against them. But Pacers, it gets dicey. And now we pretty much have the path charted out. Not to do the playoff thing, John, here, but it's going to be Orlando, Atlanta round 1. It's going to be Detroit or New York round 2, and so then you're talking Cavs, Bucks, Pacers third round. So there is a little bit of a ramp
if you make
up
it through all these rounds.
When you lose, and when we first see Jalen, yeah.
It's true. Noah has the field. Noah's got
the field.
I don't have the field going to the conference finals. I have the Celtics going to the conference finals.
Noah's extremely confident that the Celtics aren't going to win it all.
That's not at all what I said.
Oh, there it is. She's got the field.
Actually, I think they're going to win it all, to be clear.
It's a good question for right now. What's your temperature?
This is a good question. Does Luke know how you feel about him?
Does he know? Every time you interview him, I want to know if he knows.
So, getting to know the Kornet family a little bit, they're well aware of my level of fandom.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Why don't you ask what you want to ask, Noah? Bobby, is there a restraining order? Yes or no?
No, I will say, Madison Square Garden shoot-around. Okay, thank you. I was just going to say, I needed that footage that in there. In that moment.
Look at those eyes.
By the way, people were giving me praise for finally getting a Luke interview. This is the 4th interview between me and him.
Yeah, we got one in the finals, too.
Yeah, but this is the first time where you guys were holding hands, though.
Oh, okay.
I will say though, we had a little scrum going on at the same time while Bobby was off with Luke, and I turned my head
off with Luke, like they ran off into the woods.
They were having a talk.
We were talking to Peyton Pritchard, so I was locked in.
She turned and she just saw
and
sparks
I turned my
flying.
head and I saw two of the happiest people I've seen in New York City so far that weekend. Like, truly, they were both grinning ear to ear. So I think it might be mutual.
It was a great interview. People liked it. Noah gave it a thumbs up.
We're all happy. We're all very happy for you, Bobby.
We are,
and
for
the
both
family.
of you.
Was it hard? Was it a long time in the works? So was it kind of a spur of the moment thing?
No.
Are you guys? Is there a registry?
Yeah. How can we?
I should have asked him if he's looking for 20 million.
You know,
that's what he's worth.
Yeah, no, Bobby, you get all of this.
I was like,
Bobby, you
yourself.
You said that?
You can spend as much of the next 2 days talking about Luke as you want. You've earned it.
Yeah, I mean, this is the. Yeah, I've gotten a lot of praise for the Luke take, and I'm glad because I got a lot of crap for it in the early days. Noah doesn't realize
rightfully
how hard
so.
I had to fight.
I don't know how hard
I had to fight to even bring his name up on these shows at one point.
No, it aged well. I'm really happy for you.
Bobby, we were in like the pre-production room. Bobby was like, "I gotta get my 5 minutes of Luke." We're like, "No."
Sherrod hates when I bring up Luke.
He still doesn't like it. I know Sherrod's open-minded to Luke because of you.
I talked to Sherrod's class today at BU, and
did you?
Luke's name came up somehow. I forget how it came up, and he almost fell over and died.
That's awesome.
Oh, I didn't mean to do this.
What else did you talk about?
Did the kids like you?
They seem okay with me.
Yeah, that's like typical of your college career.
I think
right?
they would have preferred Noah, but
I love talking to classes.
Yeah, I've done charades a couple times too.
They like you?
I don't think so.
That's weird.
No.
My phone must like have bad service when.
Yeah,
you
I
guys
stood him
reach out
up.
to
I
me.
stood him up this semester. I felt bad. I was skiing. It was during kid winter break for the kids. But no, I actually like doing it. I do it anyway. So it's kind of the same thing. Just go up there and bullshit with the kids. Thank you, Jason.
Just talk about Jalen for half an hour. Get a whole classroom pissed at you.
It's basically it. It's just my agendas. Yeah. So that's what we got, guys. What lecture does he teach? Sherrod teaches everything there.
What was the class?
It was a sports class. I know exactly what
Sports
it was.
media?
But, yeah.
I actually kind of
Nice.
copied his class because it's a great way to not have to like grade, because it's like he just brings in speakers every week in different areas of the field, and I was like, oh, I like that, and I copied it, and I'm running that at Emerson next year.
Nice.
So,
looking forward to it.
I had Amit. He fired him up. I'll tell you that.
Okay.
You know,
I can see that.
Friggin' no.
I'll tell you this.
Amit did a tutorial for them.
You talk about first round possibilities. Amit's like got the microscope on Atlanta. This is his dream.
Oh yeah,
That's
I'm
true.
not.
Are we gonna allow him go?
I'm sending Rich. No. Tell him no. He's right there. Tell him no.
Heartbroken.
I do hope it's
draft.
Atlanta.
We got
Atlanta
other
would be more
things.
fun than Orlando.
Ahmed has.
I'm still
Put it
wrapping
this
my
way,
head
Ahmed
around
has
it.
My 5
people
hours
waiting
in
for him
Orlando yesterday did not
in
impress me.
Atlanta.
Yeah, you went for the main Celtics game.
Well, it was just this, like, I didn't really feel much of a vibe in the city. Atlanta, I was like, it's just like a real city. You know?
I played this earlier in the show, guys, and can I tell you, did Joe spook you guys after the press conference in Orlando? Because that pregame was questionless, and then the postgame was just. I mean, again, there's nothing controversial to talk about, but did he spook you guys a little bit with the with his meanness? No, okay.
You sure? A little bit.
I was very angry.
about no. We chatted with him about it. It was not a big deal.
Okay. Did he apologize?
No, it wasn't like a
Joe
like,
apologize.
You think he apologized?
It wasn't. It just
No.
it wasn't
He doubled
like
down.
mean. It was more just confusing.
It was
to me.
mean.
It didn't, honestly, I didn't. I'm pretty sensitive. Maybe if he was looking a little bit more towards me, I would
If
have.
he was pointing at you the way he did someone else in there, I think you
Maybe.
It was
I don't
mean,
know.
but as we said, nobody likes these
Finger
media
pointing.
beef stories. I was just shocked at the 50-second pregame press conference. That's all.
Those are pretty typical for pregame in
People
general.
have given up on pregame.
Yeah, he doesn't
Pregame,
like
he's
those.
just- I do pregame if I need something for a story. Otherwise, I know the quote's going to be like 30% of what it could be postgame. So I just chill out during pregame and see if anybody else has the energy.
It's fair. Final thoughts on this one before we say goodbye.
I know this is probably not what anybody cares about, but I really did think Tory Craig's minutes were just awesome. Like
Is there any chance he impacts the playoffs?
He's sick.
Probably not, but I think Joe brought up Blake Griffin. Like he's been a really good energy guy for them. You can see
play
it
in the playoffs?
Not really.
It was the Tory Craig flu game tonight.
Man,
2 points, 5 rebounds.
Are we gonna get Megan?
Not always enough
Stallion
points,
in the
John.
playoffs?
He was
I'm
a
just
plus
kidding.
20 in the fourth quarter.
I'm only
And his kid
I
is sick. I'm sorry. His kid has so much aura in the locker room. I was like, that kid is like the coolest kid I've ever seen.
We got an exclusive.
Yeah,
with
Bobby
the
got an
kid.
exclusive with the kid. So.
Did you?
Did he talk in the video?
Yeah.
Oh, he talked? Okay.
He was there. He started to talk, and Tori was like, "Shut up."
So I thought that was cool. He had a little he needed a good spurt. I know these minutes are not super meaningful, but that group outscored the
Joe
Hornets
loves
by 20.
him. He could score like 1 point in 30 minutes,
You
and
know
Joe
what
would
it
be
is?
like, he changed
Joe
the game.
really respects these guys that are around his age, that have been in the league for a long time, that could come in and be like, I thought I was getting minutes. Like, you know how many times he's talked about Blake Griffin and how
Tori
much
loves him. He was praising him up the wall.
But I think Joe like has a ton of appreciation for Tory and Al and these vets that like are buying into what Joe
it
has
like
to
Bill,
say, despite
John?
the fact that he's only been around for a few years.
Bill loved the guys who loved him. It
Who's
might be
Bill?
one of those things. Belichick.
No, Joe's young. That's the difference, right?
I think,
so
yeah.
like, and so he's 35. He's looking at guys who've been playing and play, and veterans who grind it out. And I mean, that was what he was saying about Craig here.
Taj Gibson.
Yeah,
I love him.
That
I love
shocked
Taj
me.
Gibson.
When I saw Taj
Yeah.
Gibson out on the court tonight, I did like a quadruple take. I
You
couldn't
shed a
believe-
tear.
I
Yeah.
did like I'm so blessed to be here,
It gives me
He's on your favorite?
hope that I
love
could still
Taj
be in the league too when I see a guy like that age in the league.
We
still.
got to do like our favorite players growing up type thing.
Rondo.
I got to see what your mindset is on
It's Rondo and then
who you
everybody
like.
else.
I was very upset to hear
I also
Noah
loved
was not a
Rondo.
Grant fan.
John hates Rondo.
Koozie.
You hate Rondo? You hate Rondo?
John
No,
does,
Rondo
yeah.
was a pain. Rondo was a pain in the ass to cover, and I also just
Oh, I'm
got really
sure.
annoyed. But I was
He was-
more
he was
frustrated that a person with his ridiculous skill set didn't spend a second working on a jumper.
Until
like
the end. I mean, he did by the end.
until the end. But it
His
was
hands were too
insane.
big.
He came
I
in
know
with
that's
that
always
same,
what
that
I
same
love that. I
chicken
love
wing
that.
shot with his elbow pointed out that way.
Hands were too
It dro-
That was always the discourse, right?
it drove me insane. But he was
too
tough
jacked.
as hell, and he was creative, and he could do some crazy stuff.
Avery
But
Bradley, another childhood favorite.
I like Bradley.
Avery Bradley, yeah. John, who did you say who's the guy I don't even remember his name anymore. He got traded at the deadline. Noah's favorite player of all time.
Jaden Springer.
Yeah,
You already forgot his name?
I did. But John
Didn't he? He won a
Sorry.
championship.
John like threw dirt
on
on
the
Avery
t-shirt.
Bradley's name and said that Jaden Springer was a better defender than Avery Bradley, which I couldn't believe.
We had that one night where we all
Jaden
went
Springer's
a
an
little overboard on him.
insanely good defender. Holy crap!
Yes.
He said he
Avery
better
was
than
great.
Avery Bradley was
That
considered
Clippers
like
game was unreal.
best
was
defender in the
unreal.
NBA.
If
for
JD
sure.
Springer played,
Every time he checked in,
if-
he got a deflection. Like it was like
he's insane.
sad
Yeah,
about it.
Deflection.
Then he went to the Jazz and still didn't play. It was a bummer.
Is he like out of the league right now?
offense-driven league. It's an offense.
Is he out of the
He's
league?
technically still on the Jazz, but I think it's like a.
Ahmed told me the battery's about to die. So rather than
Oh, okay.
take time and change it, we're $1.37 into this game, and yes, I think we all deserve awards and Tommy points for this happening. So we're gonna wrap it here on the Tory Craig flu game and say we will see you on Sunday, the season finale, where we don't know who's gonna play or what's going to happen, but we know we're going to be here because that's what we do. We thank you guys for hanging out. I'm not kidding. Like I said, I would not be watching these shows, so I'm glad that you guys are.
Yeah.
But
Thanks,
I love
guys.
it. I love
Appreciate
it.
it.
Chat lively.
I'd be
Everybody's
watching.
fired up.
Yeah, right.
Everybody's
Really?
fired up. So
promote the
thank you guys
product.
for hanging out with us, spending your evening here with the Garden Report for Noah and Bobby down there, Jimmy Toscano, Sherrod. He'll be back on Sunday. We will see you guys for the finale, Sunday, 1 o'clock, early
Yeah.
show. We should have it wrapped up for you guys soon, and then off to the playoffs. We'll see what happens.
Bobby's
Thank you guys.
playoff preview show.
We're gonna have stuff. We're
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
have stuff. I can't.
Tuesday night, we're playing.
A lot of stuff.
We'll do something Tuesday as well. We'll lay out the schedule for you on Sunday. But again, thank you guys for hanging out. We'll see you later.
No one's sneaking a vegan brownie by me, I'll tell you that.
Okay, you know what, John? We're going to do it.
You have to feel that way too, Bobby.
I have to feel that way. Let's
Yeah.
fight out over and make Luke your first center.
Bobby, we gave you Luke hour early. We are not going to end this on a damn conversation about Luke